Okay? How's this? With the intention to attain the ultimate supreme goal that surpasses even the wish granting jewel, may I constantly cherish all living beings. There you go.
O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestower of su. Supreme inner peace, you who love all beings without exception, are the source of happiness and goodness, and you guide us to the liberating path. Your body is a wish-fulfilling jewel. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar, and your mind is refuge for all living beings. With folded hands I turn to you, supreme unchanging friend. I request from the
Just so you know, because I'm trying to work this out, in terms of turning the volume up, you can go on that diagram, but really you don't feel much more than it. I assume you can go on that sliding control, that has the most that is, you can if you want. At the moment, I access is higher than it. But also messing around with these a bit, try and turn see if the volume will increase by moving those.
Hello, stranger.
Oh my
How are you
goodness.
doing?
Is this Graham?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, Graham. How nice to see you. Goodness me. Well, you know me, yeah. Well, how are you? Really nice to see you, Graham. That's lovely. That's a nice surprise. So you're not
You're on
meant
full
to
cover,
dance?
Graham. If you show
What's
yourself
that
to
for?
the onliners, that's the onliners who just eyeball you. Oh, very good. How, so you're Graham, I'm Sukan.
I'm still. I think that's enough. There's that much shape for you.
Yeah, so you've got a book. Yeah.
No, no. You know.
No?
You know us. You know us. Graham tends to say this. We're on one separate. We're a really nice bit of the book, actually. I'm taking a giving.
O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestower of supreme inner peace, you who love all beings without exception, are the source of happiness and goodness, and you guide us to the liberating path. Your body is a wish-fulfilling jewel. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar, and your mind is refuge for all living beings. With folded hands I turn to you, supreme unchanging friend. I request from the depths of my heart, please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind, and to heal my mental continuum. Please nourish me with your goodness, that I in turn may nourish all beings with an unceasing banquet of delight. Through your compassionate intention, your blessings and virtuous deeds, and my strong wish to rely upon you, may all suffering quickly cease, and all happiness and joy be fulfilled, and may holy Dhamma flourish May the whole ground become completely pure, as level as the palm of a hand, and as smooth as lapis lazuli. May all the space be filled with offerings from gods and men, both set out and imagined, like offerings of the All Good One. In the space in front, on a lion throne, on a cushion of lotus, sun and moon, sits Buddha Shakyamuni, the essence of all my kind teachers, surrounded by the assembly of direct and indirect gurus, Yidams, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, heroes solitary conquerors, heroes dakinis and armor protectors. I and all my kind mothers, fearing samsara's torments, turn to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the only sources of refuge. From now until enlightenment, to the three jewels we go for refuge. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the virtues I collect by giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues I collect by giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues I collect by giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. From the hearts of all refuge objects, light and nectar stream down and dissolve into myself and all living beings, purifying negative karma and obstructions, increasing our lives, our virtues, and dharma realization. May everyone be happy. May everyone be free from misery. May no one ever be separated from their happiness. May everyone have equanimity, free from hatred and attachment. You, protector of all beings, great destroyer of hosts of demons, please, O Blessed One, Lord of all, come to this place with your retinue. With my body, speech, and mind, humbly I prostrate, and make offerings both set out and imagined. I confess my wrong-deeds from all time, and rejoice in the virtues of all. Please stay until samsara ceases, and turn the wheel of Dharma for us. I dedicate all virtues to great enlightenment. The ground sprinkled with perfume and spread with flowers, the great mountain for land, sun, and moon, seen as a Buddha land and offered thus. May all beings enjoy such pure lands. I offer without any sense of loss the objects that give rise to my attachment, hatred, and confusion, my friends, enemies, and strangers, our bodies and enjoyments. Please accept these and bless me to be released directly from the three poisons. Idam Guru stars and moon on my crown, and grant me out of your great kindness your body, speech, and mind's attainments. I make request to you, Buddha Shakyamuni, whose body comes from countless virtues, whose speech fulfills the hopes of mortals, whose mind sees clearly all existence. I make request to you, Gurus of the lineage of extensive deeds, Venerable Maitreya, noble Sangha Vasubandhu, and all the other precious teachers who have revealed the path of vastness. I make request to you, Gurus of the lineage of profound view, Venerable Manjushri, Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, and all the other precious teachers who have revealed the most profound path. I make request to you, Gurus of the lineage of secret mantra, Conqueror Vajradhara, Tilopa, and Naropa, and all the other precious teachers who have revealed the path of Tantra. I make request to you, Gurus of the old Kadam lineage, the second Buddha, Tisha, Drum, Tompa, Geshe, Potawa, and all the other precious teachers who have revealed the union of vast and profound paths. I make request to you, Gurus of the new Kadam lineage, Venerable Tsongkhapa, Jampa, Gyatso, Kedrupte, and all the other precious teachers who have revealed the union of Sutra and Tantra. I make request to you, Venerable Khalsang Gyatso, protector of a vast ocean of living beings, unequal teacher of the paths to liberation and enlightenment, who accomplish and explain everything that was revealed by the fourth deliverer of this fortunate eon. I make request to you, my kind precious teacher, who care for those with uncontrolled minds, untamed by all the previous Buddhas, as if they were fortunate disciples. Please pour down your inspiring blessings upon myself and all my mothers, so that we may quickly stop all perverse minds from disrespect for our kind teacher, to the most subtle jewel appearance. Please pour down your inspiring blessings, so that we may quickly generate pure minds from respect for our kind teacher, to the supreme mind of union. Please pour down your inspiring blessings, to pacify all outer and inner obstructions. Please pour down your inspiring blessings upon myself and all my mothers, so that we may quickly stop all perverse minds from disrespect for our kind teacher, to the most subtle jewel appearance. Please pour down your inspiring blessings, so that we may quickly generate pure minds from respect for our kind teacher, to the supreme mind of union. Please pour down your inspiring blessings, to pacify all outer and inner obstructions. Please pour down your inspiring blessings upon myself and all my mothers, so that we may quickly stop all perverse minds from disrespect for our kind teacher, to the most subtle jewel appearance. Please pour down your inspiring blessings, so that we may quickly generate pure minds from respect for our kind teacher, to the supreme mind of union. Please pour down your inspiring blessings, to pacify all outer and inner obstructions. From the hearts of all the holy beings, streams of light and nectar flow down. Grant strong reliance on my kind teacher, source of all good. Oh, bless me with this understanding to follow him with great devotion. This human life with all its freedoms extremely rare, with so much meaning. Oh, bless me with this understanding all day and night to seize its essence. My body like a water bubble decays and dies so very quickly. After death come results of karma, just like the shadow of a body. With this for knowledge and remembrance, bless me to be extremely cautious, always avoiding harmful actions and gathering abundant virtue. Samsara's pleasures are deceptive, give no contentment, only torment. So please bless me to strive sincerely to gain the bliss of perfect freedom. Oh, bless me so that from this pure thought come mindfulness and greatest caution, to keep as my essential practice the doctrine's root, the pratimosha. Just like myself, all my kind mothers are drowning in samsara's ocean. Oh, so that I may soon release them, bless me to train in bodhicitta. But I cannot become a Buddha by this alone, without 3 ethics. So bless me with the strength to practice the Bodhisattva's ordination, by pacifying my distractions and analyzing perfect meanings. Bless me to quickly gain the union of special insight and quiescence. When I become a pure container through common paths, bless me to enter the essence practice of good fortune, the supreme vehicle Vajrayana. The 2 attainments both depend on my sacred vows and my commitments. Bless me to understand this clearly and keep them at the cost of my life. By constant practice in 4 sessions, the way explained by holy teachers. Oh, bless me to gain both the stages which are the essence of the Tantras. May those who guide me on the good path and my companions all have long lives. Bless me to pacify completely all obstacles, outer and inner. May I always find perfect teachers and take delight in holy Dharma. Accomplish all grounds and paths swiftly, and gain the state of Vajradhara.
And so we can meditate. We can meditate on the practice of taking on the suffering of all living beings.
We can imagine that we're taking on a particular suffering of sickness. Imagine that the sickness of all living beings gathers together in front of us in the form of black smoke. Imagine this black smoke leaving every living being and gathering in front of you in a small cloud. And then with great courage and determination, you draw all of this black cloud, all of this black smoke into your heart. And the black smoke dissolves into your own ignorance of self-grasping and self-cherishing. And then believe that every living being is completely freed from the suffering of sickness. And this is permanent. And in addition, your own ignorance of self-grasping and self-cherishing is completely destroyed. The root of all your own delusions and suffering is completely destroyed. And so you can have a mind of joy, feeling confident that you've freed every living being from their suffering of sickness. And in addition, you've destroyed your own self-cherishing and self-grasping minds. The cause of all your own suffering. And so you can feel very happy. You've brought freedom of sickness to every living being and destroyed the cause of your own suffering. So hold this mind of joy for as long as you can. And for the last 2 minutes, really believe you've taken away the suffering of sickness from every living being. And you destroyed your own self-grasping, self-cherishing mind. Thank you. So the root text, page 263. With the intention to attain the ultimate supreme goal that surpasses even the wish-granting jewel, may I constantly cherish all living beings. Whenever I associate with others, may I view myself as the lowest of all, and with a pure intention, may I cherish others as supreme. Examining my mental continuum throughout all my actions, as soon as the delusion of self-cherishing develops, whereby I or others would act inappropriately, may I firmly face it and avert it. Whenever I see unfortunate beings oppressed by evil and violent suffering, may I cherish them as if I had found a rare and precious treasure. Even if someone I have helped and of whom I had great hopes nevertheless harms me intentionally, may I see him or her as my holy spiritual guide. When others out of jealousy or anger harm me or insult me, may I take defeat upon myself and offer them the victory. In short, may I directly and indirectly offer help and happiness to all my mothers, and secretly take upon myself all their harm and suffering. Furthermore, through all the above practices, together with a mind undefiled by stains of conceptions of the eight extremes, and that sees all phenomena as illusory, may I and all living beings be released from the bondage of mistaken appearance and conception. So the condensed meaning, page 269, the top two paragraphs. Taking and giving has three parts. Taking by means of compassion, giving by means of love, mounting, taking and giving upon the breath. Taking by means of compassion has three parts. Taking on our own future suffering, the benefits of taking on others' suffering, the actual meditation on taking. So, page 175, the second part of taking and giving, the practice of giving by means of love. So, love simply means wish for others to be happy. So do you have this wish for others to be happy? Or just yourself to be happy? You can check. Giving in this context means with a pure mind of wishing love, giving our own happiness to others through meditation. Giving our own happiness to others through meditation. So it's a mind of pure love. We're prepared to give away everything, our own happiness, even if it means that we only experience a lack of happiness forever. We never find happiness again, but we're prepared to do this because we cherish others so much. In general, in the cycle of impure life samsara, there is no real happiness at all. As mentioned previously, the happiness that we normally experience through eating, drinking, sex, and so forth is not real happiness, but merely a reduction of a previous problem or dissatisfaction. And yet we pursue them. How do we meditate on giving? In Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, Shantideva says, to accomplish the welfare of all living beings, I will transform my body into an enlightened, wish-fulfilling jewel. So it's not our meat body that transforms into a wish-fulfilling jewel. It's our very subtle body at our heart. It's like a very subtle wind upon which our very subtle mind is mounted. So we have this gross body, but we also have a subtle body, which is the channels winds and drops, but we also have a very subtle body, which is our very subtle wind and very subtle mind. So it's that transforms the very essence of who we are. Our Buddha nature transforms into this enlightened, wish-fulfilling jewel. We should regard our continuously residing body. So this is continuously residing because the very subtle wind and mind are never separated. And they go from life to life. This is our very essence that goes with us from life to life. And it contains all our karmic potentials that we take with us from life to life. So we're transforming this very subtle body, the very subtle wind, into a wish-fulfilling jewel. We should regard our continuously residing body, our very subtle body, as the real wish-fulfilling jewel. This is our Buddha nature, through which the wishes of ourself and all other living beings will be fulfilled. We then think, all living beings wish to be happy all the time, but they do not know how to do this. They never experience real happiness because out of ignorance they destroy their happiness by developing delusions such as anger and performing non-virtuous actions. How wonderful it would be if all these living beings experienced the pure and everlasting happiness of enlightenment. May they experience this happiness. I will now give my own future happiness of enlightenment to each and every living being. So we're just using our imagination to accomplish this. But everything starts with imagination. If we can't imagine something, we can't accomplish it. So thinking in this way, we imagine that from our continuously residing body at our heart, we emanate infinite rays of light, which are in nature our future happiness of enlightenment. So from this very subtle wind at our heart emanates countless rays of light, infinite rays of light. And this light is the very essence of our future happiness. Our future happiness of enlightenment. And this light reaches all living beings of the 6 realms. The 3 upper realms, gods, demigods and humans, and the 3 lower realms, animals, hungry spirits, and hell realm beings. So this light reaches into every one of these realms, and we strongly believe that each and every living being experiences the pure and everlasting happiness of enlightenment. We meditate on this belief single-pointedly for as long as possible. We should continually practice this meditation until we spontaneously believe that all living beings have actually received our future happiness of enlightenment right now. So this practice of taking and giving is sometimes referred to as bringing the result into the path. The path to enlightenment is what we're practicing. And the result is our own ability to actually accomplish the welfare of others. Because when we attain enlightenment, this inner light of wisdom that is completely free from mistaken appearance and conception, but has the power to bring happiness and peace to every living being every day, real happiness and peace, then that's what we're aiming for. So bringing the result is what we will be doing when we become enlightened into the path. So we're imagining that we're actually accomplishing this result right now. Of course we're not. But just through the power of our own imagination, what we're doing is changing our mind. We're developing the powerful wish to be able to accomplish this. And this will naturally develop into the mind of bodhicitta. It strengthens our Mahayana purpose of seeking enlightenment in order to be actually able to benefit others. So it's like we're practicing now what we'll actually be accomplishing when we become enlightened. If we wish to meditate on giving more extensively, we can imagine that the rays of light we emanate fulfill all the individual needs and wishes of each and every living being. Human beings receive close friends, comfortable houses, good jobs, delicious food, beautiful clothes, and anything else they need or desire. Animals receive food, secure and warm homes, and freedom from fear. Hungry spirits receive food and drink. Beings in the hot hells receive cooling breezes, and beings in the cold hells receive warm sunshine. The demigods receive peace and satisfaction, and the gods receive uncontaminated happiness and a meaningful life. Through enjoying these objects of desire, all living beings are completely satisfied and experience the uncontaminated bliss of enlightenment. Although we are principally training in the thought of giving, we can also engage in taking and giving in practical ways whenever we have the opportunity. At our stage, we cannot take on the suffering of others through the power of our concentration, but we can often be of practical benefit to them. We can ease the pain of sick people by taking good care of them. We can help others when they're busy or by doing some of the jobs they dislike. So speak to the managers about this. And volunteer your energy and time to help Dharma flourish. Accepting hardship while engaged in helping others is also a form of giving. We can also give material help, our labor, our skills, Dharma teachings, or good advice. When we meet people who are depressed and need cheering up, we can give our time and love. We can also give to animals. Saving insects from drowning, or gently picking up worms from the road is an example of giving fearlessness or protection. Even allowing a mouse to rummage through our wastepaper basket without getting irritated can be a form of giving. So if you have rats in the ceiling, if you don't get irritated, it's a form of giving. Animals want to be happy just as much as we do. And they need our help even more than humans. Most humans have some power to help themselves, but animals are so deeply enveloped in ignorance that they have no freedom whatsoever to improve their situation. Animals have taken rebirth in a lower state of existence than humans, but we should never regard them as less important. Buddhas and bodhisattvas have complete equanimity and cherish animals and human beings equally. So you remember the example of Geshe Shikawa, who wanted, when he died, to take rebirth in the hell realms so he could help all the beings trapped in the hell realms. At the end of our meditation on giving, we dedicate our merit so that all living beings may find true happiness. We can also make specific dedications, praying that the sick be restored to health, the poor obtain wealth, the unemployed find good jobs, the unsuccessful meet with success, the anxious find peace of mind, and so forth. Through the strength of our pure motivation and the power and blessings of Buddha Dharma, our dedications can certainly help, especially if we have strong karmic link with the people for whom we are praying. Dedicating our merit to others is itself a form of giving. We can also mentally practice giving in daily life. Whenever we see or read about people who are poor, unhealthy, fearful, unsuccessful, or unhappy, we can increase our wishing love for them and dedicate our merit towards their happiness and freedom from suffering. So we're surrounded by suffering living beings. People who are desperate for some peace and happiness, but they can't find it. Because generally they're looking in the wrong place. They're chasing after mirages, thinking that if they can catch them, they'll find happiness, but there's no real happiness in samsara. So the best thing we can do for other living beings is to help them to become free of samsara. So now we come to this very practical application. Mounting, taking and giving upon the breath. So we've got to breathe all the time. So we can just turn this process of just breathing in and out into imagining that we're mounting the practice of taking as we breathe in and giving as we breathe out. So you could spend your whole day practicing taking and giving. Once we've become familiar with the meditations on taking and giving, we can combine the two and practice them in conjunction with our breathing. We begin by meditating on compassion and love for all living beings and developing a strong determination to take on their suffering and give them pure happiness. With this determination, we imagine we inhale through our nostrils the suffering, delusions, and non-virtues of all living beings in the form of black smoke, which dissolves into our heart and completely destroys our self-cherishing. As we exhale, we imagine that our breath in the aspect of wisdom light, its nature pure uncontaminated happiness, pervades the entire universe. So from the wish-fulfilling jewel as our heart, we're breathing out this white light, this wisdom light, the nature of pure uncontaminated happiness. Each and every living being receives whatever they need and desire, and in particular the supreme happiness of permanent inner peace. We practice this cycle of breathing day and night, with each breath taking on the suffering of all living beings and giving them pure happiness, until we gain a deep experience of this practice. Once we are proficient at this meditation on mounting, taking, giving upon the breath, it is very powerful because there's a close relationship between the breath and the mind. The breath is related to the inner energy winds that flow through the channels of our body and which act as the vehicles or mounts for different types of awareness or different types of mind. By harnessing our breath for virtuous purposes, we purify our inner winds. And when pure winds are flowing through our channels, pure minds arise naturally. So our minds are mounted upon these inner winds. And when the inner winds become purified, so do our minds. Many people practice breathing meditation, but the most widely practiced type consists simply of concentrating on the sensation of the breath entering and leaving the nostrils. This serves to calm the mind temporarily and reduces distracting thoughts. But it does not have the power to effect a deep and lasting transformation of our mind. Combining breathing with meditation with the practice of taking and giving, however, has the power to transform our mind from its present miserable and self-centered state into the blissful and altruistic mind of a bodhisattva. So this is possible. Just through the power of our own imagination, we're gradually reducing and eventually destroying our self-cherishing and self-grasping, just through the power of correct belief. And eventually this correct belief will turn into a yogic direct perceiver. And so we'll become a bodhisattva and superior bodhisattva, and then eventually an enlightened being. So if you realize that we're able to transform our mind just through the power of our breathing, mounting, taking, giving upon the breath, this is a very simple way of just becoming a better person. you're not going to develop a top knot and all kinds of marks and indications on your body. So you don't have to worry about that. You're just going to remain the same. Outwardly, you'll look the same, but inwardly, your mind is gradually transforming. And gradually, you're becoming a better and better person. It improves our concentration, makes our love and compassion very strong, and accumulates vast merit. In this way, the simple act of breathing is transformed into a powerful spiritual practice. At first, we do this practice only in meditation, but with familiarity, we can do it at any time. Through deep familiarity with this practice, our mind will eventually transform into the compassion of a Buddha. Meditating on taking and giving can also be very effective in curing disease. By taking on the sickness and suffering of others with a mind of compassion, we can purify the negative karma that causes the continuation of our disease. Although we should always seek medical advice when we are ill, there may be times when doctors are unable to help us. There are many stories in Tibet of people curing themselves of otherwise incurable diseases through sincerely meditating on taking and giving. There was a meditator called Karap Gomchen who contracted a disease that doctors were unable to cure. Thinking that he was going to die, he gave away all his possessions as offerings to Avalokiteshvara and retired to a cemetery where he intended to make the last few weeks of his life meaningful by meditating on taking and giving. However, through his practice of taking and giving, he purified the karma that was perpetuating his illness, and much to everyone's surprise, returned home completely cured. I wondered if he went around asking to get his belongings back. This shows us how powerful the practice of taking and giving can be. If we purify our negative karma, it is easy to cure even the heaviest disease. My mother told me, this is Venerable Geshe-la speaking. My mother told me about a monk she met who had contracted leprosy. Hoping to purify his sickness, he made a pilgrimage to Mount Kailash in western Tibet, which Tibetans believe to be Buddha Haruka's Pure Land. So Haruka is in essence the same name, the same as Buddha Vajradhara, but is Vajradhara appearing in his tantric aspect of Haruka. Haruka and Avalokiteshvara are the same person. Avalokiteshvara is the sutra aspect of all Buddha's compassion, and Haruka is the tantric aspect. So Mount Kailash is believed to be Buddha Haruka's Pure Land. He was extremely poor, and so my mother helped him on his way by giving him food and shelter, which was very kind, as most people avoided lepers out of fear of catching leprosy. He stayed around Mount Kailash for about 6 months, prostrating and circumambulating the holy mountain as his purification practice. Afterwards, while he was sleeping near a lake, he dreamt that many worms crawled out of his body and into the water. When he awoke, he felt extremely comfortable, and later discovered that he was completely cured. On his way home, he stopped to see my mother and told her what had happened. We can reflect that since beginning this time, we have had countless lives and countless bodies, but that we have wasted them all in meaningless activities. Because still we continue to suffer. Now we have the opportunity to derive the greatest meaning from our present body by using it to engage in the path of compassion and wisdom. How wonderful it would be for our world if many modern-day practitioners emulated the training the mind practitioners of ancient times and became actual bodhisattvas. So training the mind is in Tibetan Lojong. So this text, 8 Steps to Happiness, is a Lojong text, as is also the text Universal Compassion. They're both descriptions and of how we can train our mind in the 2 bodhicittas, conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. So next chapter is about conventional bodhicitta. And then chapter after that is training in ultimate bodhicitta. Training in wisdom, realizing emptiness, based upon this bodhicitta wish, this bodhicitta mind. So we can stop there and you can discuss. I can remind you also that next week is discussion, group discussion, so you can be preparing your mind to volunteer if you haven't done so recently. you have a meditation for 2 weeks' time? Did you say mounting? Taking and giving upon the breath. Perfecto. Sorry? Can we? You can include them in your the beings for whom you're practicing taking and giving. A great mother practice. Yeah. Okay, yeah, on Saturday we have the empowerment of the Buddha of loving kindness, Buddha Maitreya. So this fits in very well with this practice of giving. Also, just on a note of this, our ability to engage in this practice and benefit from it is dependent upon essentially our faith, which is simply just about we have some degree of conviction that we're not just doing breathing in and breathing out and so on. And there's actually something's happening to our mind while we're doing it. And we can think that this practice has been going on for 2,500 years. It's not a new age thing. So there's been millions of people who have gone before who have engaged in this practice. And so you have to ask yourself, well, of course I could do it too. If all these people have done it too and received benefit from it, why couldn't I? So you just do it. And of course you don't experience immediate benefit, but the benefit accumulates over some period of time. And one day you will realize, maybe you've been doing this for 6 months. One day you realize, hey, I've changed in some way. So it does work. Okay. So for next week we have Lucy and Sudana and what are the chapters? The whole of taking and giving. Great. Perfecto. Okay, thank you. So prepare questions from that. Read the chapters 2 or 3 times and think up questions for which you would want more explanation.
Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Swaha. virtues I have collected. By practicing the stages of the path, may all living beings find the opportunity to practice in the same way. However many living beings there are, experiencing mental and physical suffering, may their suffering cease through the power of my merit, and may they find everlasting happiness and joy. May everyone experience the happiness of humans and gods, and quickly attain enlightenment, so that samsara is finally extinguished. For the benefit of all living beings as extensive as space, may I attain great wisdom like that of Manjushri, great compassion like that of Avalokiteshvara, great power like that of Vajrapani. The Buddha Dhamma is the supreme medicine that relieves all mental pain, so may this precious Dhamma jewel pervade all worlds throughout space. May there arise in the minds of all living beings great faith in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and thus may they always receive the blessings of the three precious gems. May there never arise in this world the miseries of incurable disease, famine, or war, or the dangers of earthquakes, fires, floods, storms, and so forth. May all mother beings meet precious teachers, who reveal the stages of the path to enlightenment, and through engaging in this path, may they quickly attain the ultimate peace of full enlightenment. Through the blessings of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the truth of actions and their effects, and the power of my pure superior intention, may all my prayers be fulfilled. So that the tradition of Tsongkhapa, the king of the Dhamma, may flourish. May all obstacles be pacified, and may all favorable conditions abound. Through the two collections of myself and others, preserve